If you've heard everything natural hair advocates have to say about this topic and you still think that your life is way easier if your hair were straight, then this video is for you. You have said, my hair is difficult and tough, and my life is easier with straight hair. And natural hair advocates have said, no, your hair is not tough. You're just forcing it to do what it doesn't want to do. Or they've said, oh, just use conditioners. Your hair will soften. It will feel super soft if you use conditioners. Problem solved. Or they've said, I have said this recently. I've said, your hair is not tough. Your hair is very delicate. In fact, your hair is the most delicate hair type on earth. And that's why it breaks easily. But there's a question that is underlying your own issue that no one seems to be answering properly. You have experienced your hair feeling very soft, soft like a cloud, soft like candy floss when you have used a lot of conditioners, right? You also understand that your hair is delicate and so you treat it accordingly. You're gentle with it. You use silk. You treat it like premium stuff. So here's the real concern that you're having. You're like, tell me why I cannot just wake up in the morning and whip my hair into a ponytail the way I can if I'm relaxed, if I have flat iron my hair, or if I naturally have straight hair. If I have to do more work than someone who naturally has straight hair, or than even me myself when my hair is relaxed, then tell me why you would say natural hair is not naturally difficult to deal with. In this video, I'll tell you exactly why this is such a struggle for you, and I'll also show you exactly how to get off the struggle bus. The amount of people that have been shocked when I tell them, or the fact that your hair is relaxed, straightened, or you naturally have straight hair doesn't mean you will not be conditioning and be shampooing your hair often, more often than we historically have been doing as African women. The shock is quite astounding. It's shocking to me because there's the assumption that I don't have the energy, I can't do this natural hair thing, all this, all these natural hair influencers I see on the internet. Please, I don't have that strength, I don't have that energy, I don't even have the time to do all that work. So therefore, this is my solution. I'll go relax my hair. The amount of people that have come up with that solution. So if we are to follow that logic, what it means is that in your mind, somewhere in your mind, you feel that to take care of curls, because the difference between your natural hair and your straight hair is the curls. So in your mind, you feel like to take care of curls is to do more conditioning when that's not the case at all. If that were the case, why do you feel like why is it that when you have relaxed hair and you use roller sets, you have your hair in some style that makes it curl up, you don't need to condition it more than you've been conditioning your relaxed hair, or wash it more than you've been washing your relaxed hair? It's simply a myth. I put it to you that it actually takes a bit more work in terms of care when your hair is relaxed, because the integrity of your strands are more compromised when it's chemically processed. So you need more protein. You need to be more on top of damaging or over manipulation as well. I'll give you a very good example. The way you can sometimes comb your hair sopping wet and get away with some breakage, you can't try it if you have chemically relaxed or straightened hair. You can't try it. So there's this category of people, and summarily, let's just say you need to revisit that mindset. However, there's another category of people who understand that the more they care for their hair, the softer it will get, the more they condition their hair, the softer it will feel. They get this, they understand this. In fact, they've experienced it themselves. They've experienced what their hair feels like when it's super soft, when it feels like clouds, when it feels like candy floss. And also, they don't even hate natural hair. When they see natural hairstyles, they actually like it, right? However, if you fall into this category, you may also think things like, my life would be so much easier if my hair was straight. It's possible for you to still feel this way. In fact, I think that's where a lot of enlightened naturals are in the moment. When you say things like that, this is usually why you're trying to comb your hair, you're trying to style it into a ponytail, you're trying to style it into a short bob, and other hairstyles like that. If I'm gonna be honest with you, you're right. I'm not going to gaslight you into believing that, oh no, it takes the exact same amount of energy or it takes the exact same amount of effort. It doesn't. If you sit an Afro textured woman down, give her a comb, give the exact same comb to a woman that has straight hair, one person is going to spend longer time, one person is going to take their time and do it more gently, to put more presence of mind into what they're doing. That's effort. That's effort right there. So, no, if your aim is to comb your hair from root to tip in one go, You're gonna struggle if you have Afro textured hair. I'm not gaslighting you about that. Okay, but here's what you're missing. Just stick with me for a minute. This is what you're missing. This is what you're not paying attention to. What if instead of a ponytail, you aim for a twist out? What if instead of a straight bob, you aim for an afro, a cute afro? What if instead of aiming to comb your hair from root to tip in one go, your aim instead shifts to fluffing your afro with an afro pick? What if for that event, instead of trying to achieve big, beautiful, bouncy curls, you aim for a really elegant rotor campaign hairstyle? This is not me picking one style over the other. At the moment, that's not the point of these questions. Just work with me for a minute. If you made these swaps, do you think you would still think your hair was difficult? If your answer is still yes, hold on 1 minute. Stick with me. I have one more question for you. You know what a twist out looks like, right? What an afro looks like, what fluffing your hair feels like and looks like with an afro pick, what a rotor campaign elegant updo looks like, right? Now imagine those styles. If you had relaxed hair, or you had European straight hair, or Asian straight hair, can you imagine what the process will be like to recreate those styles? Can you imagine how difficult it will be to pull those styles off? Do you know what it takes for a straight haired person to achieve an afro? Of course, it's difficult. Have you ever thought about that before? How difficult it will be as a relaxed person to create an afro? Do you see the issue is when you're relaxed, you're not trying to create an afro. So when you have afro textured hair, the problem is not your hair texture itself, it's the fact that the style you're aiming for, whatever it is you're aiming for your hair to do, is not afro texture friendly. So you see now that if you're finding your life more difficult when you're aiming for certain hairstyles and less difficult when you're aiming for other hairstyles, then we see that it's not necessarily the hair texture itself that's the issue. It's what you're desiring to do with your hair. And as we've learned so far on this channel, if you want to like something, you can. So if you want to begin to like twist outs, afros, and elegant updos and other afro friendly hairstyles, you absolutely can. So, as we've already established, it's the way you want your hair to look. That's the issue. If you can make this shift and redirect your desires and begin to desire things that do not stress you, do not stress your hair, then you would stop thinking your hair was difficult to deal with. Your hair is refusing to cooperate. Cooperate with you to do what? That's the question. That's a $1 million question right there. What is it exactly you're trying to do right now that your hair is refusing to cooperate with? This is only if you have an issue with your hair. If you do not think your hair is currently difficult to deal with and you do not have the desire to love your own texture, then the rest of this video may not apply to you. But if you desire to love your own texture and you're currently struggling with the idea that your own natural hair is more difficult to deal with compared to your hair when you've straightened it, then the summary of this is that if you shift your desires, if you shift the things that you're trying to achieve with your hair, that's the fastest way to get off the struggle bus. So you see, you only think your hair is difficult because you're aiming for sleek styles, because you decided to make sleek styles. That was your decision to make. I was talking to a friend of mine, and that was actually where the light bulb moment came. We're talking about this, and I was explaining all of this to her, and I realized I don't think I've seen this explained like this before on the internet. So I thought to do a video about it, right? I reminded her about a particular day she sent me a selfie of her hair out and about, right? Her hair was just out there. And she sent it to me, in frustration. I don't know what to do to my hair to go to work. And I told her that I understand why you would want to change what you currently have on, but you do realize that what you currently have on is carryable. Like people carry this hairstyle all the time. Like people carry the same hairstyle, right? So your frustration right now is not because of the texture of your hair, it's because you are not comfortable carrying your hair like this. Why are you not comfortable carrying your hair like this is a completely different conversation that we'll get into in this video. But let's make a distinction here because for far too long, we have internalized the harmful narrative that the reason why we are frustrated on our journey is because of inherent qualities that our hair has. It's because of the way our texture is naturally, the way it exists naturally. When that's not the case, it's our choices, it's what we've decided to do with our hair. It's the styles that we are currently comfortable with. It's not because of the hair in itself. Does that make sense? Because there's something that shifts inside you the minute you realize that, oh, I am not the problem. It's the current journey, the current path that I have chosen to take on that's making me frustrated. It's very different. It's completely different. It's the difference between understanding that there's something wrong with me versus ordinarily there's nothing wrong with me. My life isn't difficult, but this particular thing I've decided to do is difficult, and so let me do it. Or, oh, I have a choice. I actually don't have to do that. I have other options. I have other choices on how I can decide to get to the same goal that I want to. In this case, would be to look presentable, right? So now let's go into why you are finding this difficult. Why can't you just carry your hair out? Why do we as Black women feel the need to slick it down, feel the need to, do all sorts of things to make it as straight hair approved as possible? It's all because our internalized idea of beauty is anti-Afro, right? It's anti-African, it's anti-Afrocentric. That's the short form, that's the short version of what we're about to go into. Work with me for a second, okay? Let's imagine something. Let's say Black people actually colonized Europeans. Let's say Black people, Africans, we came up with the whole concept of the corporate world, of what a corporate look looks like. Part of the corporate look will be afros, let's say. It would be weird if you have a coworker show up one day in bone straight hair. You would stare at the person like, oh, okay. You would stare if we lived in a world that was created by, and optimized for our Africanness. Yeah, so in a world where everyone is wearing Afrocentric hairstyles, and you find one co-worker that one day decides, oh, instead of my normal maybe twist out or bantu knots, I'm just going to show up with straight hair. I'm going to straighten my hair. I'm going to wear a wig, that is straight. How do you think you would react? You will react the exact same way people react to you today when you show up in your office with afro hair. Because in this society that I just painted, people would be optimizing for afro looks, afrocentric hairstyles. People would aim for the frizzy look. The aim will be to have a frizzy look. The aim will not be to have a sleek hairstyle. The aim will be to have big, beautiful twist outs. It will not be to have bouncy curls or sleeked ponytails. Because whenever your hair is extension free and you're looking in the mirror, you don't feel hurt. Your hair isn't currently in pain. Like your scalp isn't currently in pain. That's when it's loose and you're just looking in the mirror. So it starts to hurt when you decide to start doing something with it and check what are you typically trying to do with it. Don't you notice you're more frustrated in a certain direction than others? There's some things you do that are more hurtful, that are more difficult to pull off. You need probably 1 or 2 days prep to pull it off. Before I cut my hair, I needed, my goodness, I needed to draw like a rough circle in the middle, slick it down with gel, pack it up and slick it down with gel. I'm just talking about the middle. And then slick the whole head to join with the middle one, just to have the slickest ponytail, just to have the slickest bun, low bun, right? Because I was Texlax. So I could not for the life of me pull off a ponytail, a sleek bun without going through all of that. And that took more than 1 day. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But guess how many seconds this hairstyle took me? Guess how many? I could have chosen to be frustrated. I knew I was fighting my own texture right back then. So the frustration wasn't that much. I would even prepare for it and all that. But it's a different ball game where I am expecting my hair to I should just be able to wake up and just whip my hair into a low bun, into a sleek low bun, and all should be well. I mean, after all, other women are able to do that. So why can't I do it? So whenever it is you're trying to pull something off with your hair and you feel that frustration coming up, just pause, ask yourself, what style am I optimizing for right now? Is it a straight hairstyle or is it a kinky hairstyle? Or is it an Afric hairstyle? This doesn't necessarily need to change your decision from straight to kinky or vice versa. It's just very good when you're aware that, oh, wait, this hairstyle is actually a straight haired hairstyle. So that helps with your frustration, right? That helps you realize that, oh, I can't be having these expectations of my hair. Do you guys know that there's an Asian hairstylist that I came across on the internet that actually he helps his Asian customers to achieve Afro textured hair. You know how you go to the salon to go get your hair relaxed? People go to his salon to go get their hair textured. Yep. They get Afro textured beards, they get Afro textured hair, they make braids, they make cornrows, they make afros. It's hilarious. It's hilarious because we are also chemically processing our whole lives just to look as straight haired as possible. But look at what they're doing as well. So now my question is, do you know how frustrated they would feel trying to keep up with that look if they had internalized the idea that, oh, to look good, my hair has to be kinky. To look good, my hair has to be freezed up. My hair can't be like super neat and super shiny. No, 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 no. I need my hair to have some frizz. I need my hair to have, that Afro textured look, and with the amazing fade that our guys do, right? Do you know how frustrated they would be keeping up with that hairstyle? Do you understand the process it takes to keep up with that hairstyle every day? Imagine you had to show up to work like that, and no one else in the office carried straight hair, flaunted their straight hair, and or made any straight hair. Everyone in the office had Afro textured hair, right? You have to keep it up. It's tough. Of course, it's difficult. So I'm not gonna gaslight you, but I need you to stop focusing on the energy and the strength it takes you to achieve that straight hair or that straight head style. What I need you to do is focus on your intentions, your motivations, and the aim. What are you aiming for? What are you optimizing for? About 7 years ago, I spent a year in the city of Leeds in the UK. And I was there for a master's program. So I, had to show up in class. Now I had only probably in the entire school of law, that's that particular faculty. I don't think I could count up to five people that were black like me, that had Afro textured hair either like me, right? They were mostly Asian, and if they were not Asian, they had straight hair. So I had a straight haired friend walk up to me one day and she asked, out of curiosity, I could tell she had been thinking about it. I could tell she had been thinking about it for a while. And she asked me, I was wearing a wig, by the way, a straight hair wig, was long. And she asked me very curiously, she asked me if this was my hair. And I promise I didn't take, it wasn't like I took offense, but I was taken aback because I could not for the life of me imagine that someone could look at me and think this was my hair. Like I thought it was so obvious that it was a wig. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. I thought it was so obvious it was a wig. So, in my own private moments, I just thought about them. I just, reflected on the moment again, and I wondered how could she not know that was not my hair? Like, does this look like her own hair? Because in my mind, for people to understand, for people to be able to easily see that, oh no, she's wearing a wig, they should just look at their own hair, and if it doesn't really look like the real deal, then obviously they should know that that's a wig. And then I had a question pop up in my head that, but Timile, look around you. How many people are in this large room right now that have Afro textured hair? There were just about, like I said, less than five, right? How many of them are wearing their own hair out, their own Afro textured hair out? None. Not a single person, including myself. So why do I expect them to know what my hair looks like if even I wouldn't show up outside without the wig? Why do I expect this person whose background is different, orientation is obviously different? I'm probably the first black friend that she had. Why do I expect her to know what my own hair texture looks like? To be able to detect when I'm wearing a wig. And honestly, it was probably because the hair looked fake that she even asked the question in first place. If it was properly melted lace and all of that nice stuff, she probably wouldn't have even known to ask. She would have just assumed, right? The same way I wasn't asking her if her hair was her hair. So the whole point of this is not to say wigs are bad, don't wear your hair straight. It's just to investigate these things, right? Is to notice that the real problem here is not your texture. Okay. The real problem here is that hairstyles that favor your texture are not allowed in high-end events. They're not allowed in the corporate space. It's not written down anywhere, at least most places. Some places actually do write these things down. But in most places it's just it's a given. Like if you try it, you'd see, reactions that people have and that just socially corrects you right back into straight hairstyles. So the point of this video is just for you to actually realize that, oh, that's the problem. The problem is that my hair is not allowed. And so that's why I'm not comfortable wearing my hair out. And that's why I think my hair is difficult, because now I have to wear another hairstyle out, not a hairstyle that's for me. I have to wear a straight hair out because that's what's considered beautiful. That's what's considered proper and appropriate in the workplace and at events. That's the problem. That's what's difficult. It's not your hair itself that's difficult. If you let your hair be, if you let your hair thrive in Afrocentric styles, you wouldn't think it would be difficult. And once again, like I've said before, the issue is not that you're wearing wigs or you're wearing straight hair, it's that you're not able to wear your own hair out. That's the problem. There are a list of hairstyles that you probably are comfortable making out. You're probably comfortable making maybe 3 to 4 different hairstyles that are beautiful, right? The issue is that none of those hairstyles is just your hair. All of them have one extension or the other, or a wig or a scarf. There's none of those hairstyles that involve just your hair, or even a wig that has your own hair texture. Now that's the issue right there. The reason why it's an issue is because of the underlying message. It passes the underlying message that my own hair isn't good enough to show up outside with. My own hair isn't presentable, just the texture itself. To be presentable, I need to be sleek. I need to be neat. Not one hair strand should be frizzy. That's the problem, because naturally our hair is frizzy. I remember in primary school, there was a little girl. We were all little children, but there was this girl. She is Filipino, and in school she was so frustrated because the amount of hands that would touch her hair daily. I only remember this girl as cranky. She was always cranky. She was always cranky because everyone wanted to touch her hair. Everyone wanted to touch her hair. It's normal. It's normal human behavior. I do think, as children, you can begin to have age appropriate conversations about these things so that she didn't have to go through what she went through. But the original first instinct is to be amazed, is to be awed, right? Oh, what does someone else's head feel like? What does it look like? What does it feel like when I touch it? Oh, it's different from my own hair, how it feels when I touch it. So I can assure you that if you wear your hair out as an afro to your office tomorrow or next week, Monday, you are going to get stares if you haven't done it before. You're going to get stares, you're going to get comments, you're going to get all sorts, right? It's natural human behavior. And can I say that the reason you get stared at when you show up in your office with an afro is because you simply do not do it enough. You don't do it enough. I can say the world, society, colonization, but this is one way that you can begin to take your own personal decolonization into your own hands and be responsible for it. Yes, so far, maybe you've never heard of this before. You've been oriented to, prefer a certain look outside. So I can say it's not been your fault so far up until this point, this video. You don't have to conform. And if you conform, realize that you've chosen to. Let it not be a subconscious thing that you're not even thinking about, and you have no idea that the subconscious programming is working on you, right? It's better to do things consciously and you're aware of it. It helps with letting go of a lot of struggles and issues and conflict within. And when you take personal ownership and responsibility for your own decolonization, starting with your hair, you inevitably also give others permission to do so. You call other people up, you call up other women to also step up. And by step up, for women who genuinely want to carry their hair out, but they overthink it, they can't do it, they don't feel comfortable to do it, you help them become more comfortable to do the thing that they really want to do. If it's not something that they really want to do, completely different conversation. Okay, completely different conversation. But there's so many ladies out there that show up to offices one day that if you begin to show up in your own Afro textured hair, as you've always wanted to do, they also will get the permission to do so. And because you're doing it day in, day out, or whenever it is you feel like your own hair enters the rotation of the styles that you've chosen to do, regardless of the stares, regardless of the comments, and just force people to get used to it. It will also, encourage them to step up in that regard for themselves too. Go watch my last video on the step-by-step process of how to actually get to love your own hair texture. Go check it out. Also, you can jump on the one-on-one challenge with me. One-on-one challenge is where we would do a thorough audit of your hair care system, products, tools, mindset, and everything, including where you are at now in your journey in terms of how you feel about your own hair, and we'll work together in the space of 5 days of your choosing. And you walk away with a very detailed step by step what to do. As someone who has gone through the program has given us a review before that she left a completely different woman, I assure you, you will not be the same at the end of the challenge. Until next time, go effortless.